Smitty, is there such thing as a running back dead zone?
You know, we hear these buzzwords getting kicked around every single offseason. And last year, I felt like people were talking about running back dead zone when there really wasn't one, but one ended up developing. Is a dead zone developing because of the fall of Kenneth Walker? Maybe, kind of. Probably. Maybe not. We're investigating it. That's why we're here. At a glance, and I'm just digging into this, and I'm doing this live off the cuff. This is not scripted or prepared at all, so I don't know what I'm going to find. My initial diagnosis and assessment here is that the dead zone for running backs might be, people will insinuate, it might be in round 2 or 3. There is a reason why people might fear round 2 now for RBs, because a guy named Kenneth Walker has just been raptured from the 4th round, and deservedly so. No one should be taking Kenny Walker in round 2, even if you're taking the stance, which I can understand, and I respect the stance of
nothing's gonna happen to Kenneth Walker, this will all work out.
The truth is, you need to now draft him in round 4 or even round 5. The news today by Pete Carroll saying that there's going to be potentially a battle for that running back job in Seattle, which may have been taken out of context a little bit, I think, but people will react to it, and Kenny Walker no longer has round 2 value. Whether you want him to or not, it doesn't matter. Perception's reality. He is now a 4th round pick, and that was before that Pete Carroll quote hit newswires. Now we have Kenneth Walker potentially not even in round 4. He might be pushed to round 5, and let me tell you, I like that value. This video is not about Kenneth Walker, though. This video is what we believe to be a dead zone conversation in round 2 or 3, or is there no dead zone in round 2 or 3? Does a dead zone for RBs even exist? I'm here to debate this. I'm here as a judge, jury, and executioner to reside over this evidence and let you know if I deem a dead zone terminology to be appropriate. The Fantasy Football Show Court Edition begins right now.
It's time for Fantasy Football. Court
is in session.
What is the running back dead zone? It's a zone where no running backs can be had. They're all thinned out. Maybe there's 1 or 2. That's called a dead zone to most people. It doesn't mean that no running backs available. It means very few. And if you're lucky, you get one. And if you're not lucky, someone grabs that running back before you get a chance to, and there's no running backs. And if you go wide receiver, and you hit said dead zone, you're screwed. That's basically what the dead zone is and why people talk about it. Now, if we're going to assume, and we don't know, we're going to try and investigate. If we assume that round 2 could be the dead zone, this guy Breece Hall would be one of my favorite targets. So let's go into round 2 and 3 and investigate and see what other running backs we like aside from Hall at a glance as our dead zone round 2 targets, if the dead zone even exists in round 2, and I'm pretty skeptical. In looking at round 2, who are the RBs we will target? As I mentioned, Walker's been raptured from round 2. He's been raptured for round 3. So if Walker shouldn't even be a conversation for round 3, and he shouldn't be, because he's at least in round 4, probably now in round 5. Again, value I love, but this is not about that. I've got a whole video dedicated to Charbonnet and Walker and what to do. In my last live stream, I break this down as well. I love getting Walker in round 5. If you can get Walker in round 5 and pair him to Charbonnet, who you might have to take an 8, 7, who knows where he climbs to, but that duo from round 5 and beyond is fantastic. In round 2, you need to find yourself a new monster to grab. The only running back that sticks out like a sore thumb to me is Breece Hall, who was living at 3.1 to 3.4, but for every fall, there is a riser. Kenneth Walker falling out of round 2 and round 3 means that somebody's going to climb up, and Breece Hall, who was sitting already at that 3.1 to 3.4 doorstep, is going to be dragged into the bottom of round 2. And he will be worth every penny because he's arguably good enough to be a first-round running back, but his ACL recovery, people are going to shy away from grabbing him too early, and I think people will be uncomfortable enough grabbing him coming off the ACL tear that he can't really climb much higher than this 20 to 24 overall territory. If you need an RB in round 2, he's your guy. Really anywhere in round 2. The question remains is who else is a round 2 running back at all? Jahmyr Gibbs will become a round 2 running back. Of that, I have no doubt. This guy is a 4th rounder right now in best ball drafts. He's going at literally 4.1, 4.2, but part of that is the old ADP data kind of being used as a reference at the beginning of these early best ball drafts that are taking place on Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Smitty. Make sure you use the link in the description or use code Smitty. Sign up. You'll get up to $100 bonus match, dollar for dollar on your first deposit. We mock draft at night, graveyard shift, midnights. We do a lot of mock drafts and best ball drafts, so join us doing that. And while he's going in round 4 right now, he's going to climb into round 3 as people start to read all the buzz, everybody taking him a little bit earlier, and that's going to drive people to take him a little bit earlier. The ADP data will update. He'll no longer be sitting in round 4 on the suggested rank. He'll start sitting in round 3 on the suggested rank, and then people are going to want him and want to snipe him, and then on and on and on and on he goes. He climbs up into the bottom of round 2. And the question would be, like Breece Hall, do we like Breece Hall in round 2? Anywhere in round 2, the answer is yes. I totally Smitty approved. Breece Hall anywhere in round 2.
You've just been Smitty approved.
You will certainly want to get him as late as you can. That's called value. You certainly want to get every player as late as you can. That includes Breece Hall. So don't take Breece Hall at 2.1 if you can get him at 2.8. If you can't trade down and you want to RB and you're at 2.4, so be it. I'm not against Breece Hall at 2.4. Jahmyr Gibbs is going in the 4th round right now, which is a steal because he is a top 15 overall player.
Smitty, he's too small. He's 199 pounds. Did you just call him a top 15 overall player?
You're right. That probably isn't totally accurate. We'll call him a top 12 overall player. And he will get there eventually, but please do not go out and destroy this man's ADP. I just told you he's going at 4.1 right now, which you can win a league on. So the dead zone running back number 2, you could argue even being my number 1 dead zone running back is Jahmyr Gibbs. And you can in crafty fashion wait for him and maybe go wide receiver in the dead zone territory instead of forcing one of the only running backs that we like. Pardon me, the potential dead zone area, because I'm still deciding whether one even exists or where it might exist. Creatively use this information to either avoid the dead zone territory if it's real, go wide receiver and grab what will be eventually one of the only dead zone running backs people are trying to consume. So right now, take advantage. Take him in the 4th round. Take Breece Hall in round 2. Let's say you get Bijan in round 1. Here's one of those situations where you've got 3 RBs here. I don't traditionally go running back, but if you could pull this kind of situation off, you get Bijan, Breece Hall, Jahmyr Gibbs, and let's call it Olave. Where's our boy Olave when we need him? Let's go Olave in round 3. This would be, let's take Walker out of here just so we can focus on this part of the draft. Bijan, Breece Hall, Olave, Jahmyr Gibbs. Who doesn't feel like that would absolutely smash? The answer is nobody. Everybody watching right now just is drooling. Their jaw hit the floor. They said, oh my God, I can get this right here.
Unbelievable. You've just been Smitty approved.
And let's say we don't go Bijan here. Let's say we go Jamar Chase. Where's Jamar Chase when we need him? We take Jamar at the top of round 1. So in this case, we have a top of round 1 draft slot. We take Breece Hall right here. We take Olave right here with the back-to-backs, Breece Hall, Olave, and Jahmyr Gibbs probably doesn't fall to us at the bottom of 4. So maybe he's out of the equation at this point, and you're left with this one man right here. And you got to throw in, let's say, a Drake London, or let's go Burrow here. Let's do the stack. So we go Joe Burrow in round 4. Sometimes he falls at the bottom of round 4. Sometimes he doesn't. This would be a phenomenal start. You go 2 wide receivers, 1 running back in the dead zone in Breece Hall. And then you got to fill like your Kamara, Charbonnets, your DeAndre Swifts later to get your second running back. Very good plan of attack. You could also go quarterback later. Let's call it a Trevor Lawrence later on in round 5. So let's say you take Drake London in round number 4. So you got Trevor Lawrence in 5 or whatever quarterback direction you go. You got Chase, you got Olave, you got Breece Hall, and you got Drake London. Fantastic. Smitty approved.
You've just been Smitty approved.
Now, you might be saying, Smitty, Hall isn't the only round 2 running back. There are a lot of guys like JT that sometimes can fall. He's kind of going to round 1 now, so I'd like to remove JT and say that he's becoming a round 1 staple. Ramondre's more of a round 3 guy, so he's a dead zone running back that I absolutely love. Nick Chubb's falling into the 3rd round territory sometimes, so he's a dead zone running back you can go after. The question is, and I love Ramondre, but is Nick Chubb going to slowly break down, is Nick Chubb. Are his knee injuries going to get the best of him? He didn't score a single rushing touchdown once Deshaun Watson returned from football. A string of games in the last half of the season where he did not score a single touchdown on the ground with Deshaun Watson. So there's reason to believe Nick Chubb has some risk, even though he started off the season on fire last year. So a lot of people don't want to draft a team around Nick Chubb. ETN is a 3rd or 4th round steal. He's definitely a dead zone running back. That's why the dead zone doesn't really truly exist. There are RBs all over the place. It's just a matter of, do you like Derrick Henry in round 3 or 2 anymore? Do you love Ramondre Stevenson, who escaped the NFL draft? The answer should be yes. He's a good 3rd round pick. ETN's a great 3rd round pick. Barkley goes in round 2. There really is no dead zone. The conclusion here is Barkley's at the top of 2. Breece Hall is at the bottom of round 2. Saquon Barkley's at the top of 2. Breece Hall is at the bottom of round 2. Nick Chubb can go in round 3 sometimes. Stevenson's a steal. ETN's a steal. There's no dead zone in rounds 2 and 3. Jahmyr Gibbs again is in round 4 right now, but he'll eventually climb. But this 3rd and 4th round is actually pretty loaded with RBs. Najee Harris falls to round 4 a lot. Tony Pollard falls to round 3 or 4, and Zeke Elliott, there's rumors that Zeke could re-sign with Dallas, and that's going to bump him down. It doesn't concern me. I'm going to be all over this from the opposite perspective, I think, of most, but Tony Pollard will fall to round 4 if Zeke Elliott returns to Dallas. He's just a shell of himself. But 3rd or 4th, he's in this territory. Najee, Tony Pollard, there are tons of running backs to grab in rounds 2, 3, and 4. And again, assuming that Gibbs is...
Thank you for holding for me. How can I help you?
Yeah, can I order something to be picked up? Egg fried rice.
Okay. We'll see you in about 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
I honestly started this video on the fly, going after round 2, round 3, and not really round 4, but I would dip into round 4. We're going back toward round 5. Round 5, round 6 is kind of becoming what looks like the most ghost town of a running back situation that you could find. And that's not really a running back dead zone, because running backs dry up naturally by the time you get to round 5 or 6. Aaron Jones in round 5 and round 6, that is a player that I would easily grab there. DeAndre Swift is becoming a very, very nice grab in round 5 and 6. There's no dead zone really here. And as we just mentioned, Kenneth Walker, who's going from 4 to probably round 5, this puts us in a pretty nice position to grab an RB still and not feel like we're getting screwed out of, some sort of value drop when you consider the cost of entry. You mix in Alvin Kamara, who in best balls going around 7, round 8, sometimes around 6, I think at the very latest. He'll go in round 4 or 5 in some kind of grandma mock draft, because people don't know that everybody's drafting him really late. But I mean, this is a grip of running back options for you. Looking at an ADP board right here from Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty. Again, they'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. So get on over to Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, where we're going to draft on all this later. I mean, these are probably the top names in round 5 or 6 that I would target. I see Mixon there. I don't want him. I see Montgomery there. I don't want him. Cam Akers, no thank you. Rashad White, a little early for him. Javonte, a little early for him. Those are guys in like round 7 or 8 that become more valuable. Dameon Pierce should be pretty good in this maybe 6, 7 round territory. Some would say J.K. Dobbins. So we'll put Dameon Pierce in round 6 around this territory. We'll put Isaiah Pacheco here in round 6. These are all very, very good running backs to take if you're going late RB2 and you want to grab Swift, or you want to grab Pacheco and Swift, you want to grab Aaron Jones and Pierce, you want to grab Kamara and Walker and Charbonnet. I imagine Zach Charbonnet is going to climb rankings very quickly. Right now, he's in like 10, 11. I think he easily climbs into the 7 or 8 territory later. Wouldn't be shocked if these guys, Walker went 5 and Charbonnet went 6 eventually. Don't take him that high. You don't have to. But I really love the idea of grabbing like a Kamara and Charbonnet in round like 6 and 8, 6 and 9, and getting Walker in round 5, and then really attacking wide receiver here if best player available allows it, and you come out with a couple monsters. Like maybe you do get Bijan number 1. In fact, let's map this out right now. Let's create the most ideal draft board using what looks to be, in my opinion, the most dead zone territory now. In my impromptu glance at all this, literally on the fly doing all this, 5, 6 is the most dead zone territory I can find. Let's go Breece Hall in round 2. Let's go Chris Olave in round 3. These are some of my favorite picks so far. So we've got 2 RBs here. In this approach, maybe we go Drake London and Christian Watson if we can get away with it. Watson's been kind of falling. Drake London's been kind of climbing. You could swap these guys, and if you see London falling and Watson not, you could go that direction. That would be one of those really sweet running back, wide receiver approaches that are hard to pull off, but man, that would be good. But if we go, let's say, heavy wide receiver, and let's say we take Hall here, we take Chase here, we go wide receiver here, wide receiver, and we need to go to this running back ghost town kind of territory. This is where we maybe grab the Kenneth Walker as our RB2, and we grab Zach Charbonnet. Let's just put him in 8 right now. He could easily climb into these rounds right here. I would not be shocked again if these guys go very close later on, but right now he's not. So put him in 8. Put DeAndre Swift in 6. If I could come out of my draft with these 3 wide receivers, Chase, Olave, and Watson, and my running back 1 is Breece Hall. My running back 2 is a combination of Kenneth Walker, DeAndre Swift, and Zach Charbonnet. I'm happy as can be. Maybe Alvin Kamara is here instead of Swift. Maybe Isaiah Pacheco is here. Maybe I get Isaiah Pacheco in 6, I get Swift in 5, and I still get Charbonnet and smash this route. I love when people tell me there's a ghost town dead zone somewhere, because what it tells me is there's value to be had. I've investigated. I'm going to Smitty disapprove that there is a running back dead zone anywhere for RBs in 2023. I'm looking at it. There is no dead zone running back territory in 2023. Case dismissed.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
Now get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com and get your year-round fantasy football rankings, bold predictions, trade calculator, rookie rankings. Superflex rankings just dropped on the site. We now have Superflex rankings, baby. We've got it all. I'd love to see anybody that has more rankings than we do. Super rookie, top 200, redraft, dynasty, best draft rankings by round. We've got it all. Thefantasyfootballshow.com. The bold predictions are what people know me for on the content side of this thing. Thefantasyfootballshow.com. Now, get out of here.
There is no running back dead zone.
This is the Fantasy Football Show with your host, Smitty.